Yeah. Copblock Radio is filmed live in secret locations across the country. All co-hosts are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. What's up, Matt?
Hey, what's up, man? This is Matt Taylor of Carbon County Copblock and Question Your Perception podcast coming to you live from my secret location. Severin, how are you doing this weekend?
I'm doing excellent. This has been a really, really fun week for me personally. I have had lots of contact with government officials.
Yeah, let's hear about it.
Well, I went to a city council meeting yesterday, and it was kind of funny because when the chief of police saw me sitting there and I was in line to speak, I saw him make a cell phone call, and suddenly two uniformed cops showed up and sat down. I was like, "Are you serious? Did he seriously just call these guys in case I make a scene?"
Well, actually, I mean, the last time that I was with you out there, I mean, we just crossed our year anniversary of us out there for James Osh. We just crossed our year anniversary for that, and I remember, you had myself, there was Rick Gonzalez of Allentown Copblock, you and Scott Marshall of the Oath Accountability Project, and when we all showed up to that meeting, there were cops everywhere. But then again, though, we were standing in the back with signs saying fire one of their officers. So I mean,
that meeting in particular too was a meeting where numerous groups showed up to protest. So there was at least a dozen people there to complain about cops. So they had their best representatives, and they had all the cop suckers in the audience waiting till after the complaints to go up and talk about how great their local cops are and how it's just blown out of proportion, and people just egg them on, and they're heroes.
So what were you there to speak about?
Well, I had I think I might have talked about it on this show that I had a Freedom of Information request for some officers' backgrounds for their complaints against them, and
that's right,
they denied it. And they said that nothing on officers can be gotten because it's all part of their personnel files and considered to be exempt. Well, I appealed that decision and won. The Commonwealth or whatever courts, the higher courts, read the appeal and decided in my favor that anything written by the public and handed in, including officer complaints, are considered to be public record once they hit the desk. So they were ordered to hand those over. Well, on the last day, they decided to play some legal games, and they filed some injunction in the court, and has handed me a stack of paperwork that I have to answer to in order to win this appeal, because they appealed the appeal to a higher court.
Wow.
So they're burying me in paperwork. They're trying to, but.
Gotcha. Well, I remember, last year when we went out and we did this, this protest, and we went and we were talking at the city council, they decided to throw a couple plants inside the audience to come out and kind of speak very highly of the police, kind of to really just, throw the whole message off. Did you run into that while you were there this time?
No, last time we went, we were actually in Allentown, and Allentown's more notorious for that. This time I was actually in my local town, Bethlehem City.
Okay.
So it was a little different, a little layout, a little different. The council's a little more professional. The mayor actually shows up to these meetings.
Oh, wow.
So,
well, I guess you kind of get that when the mayor's not being indicted by the FBI. So,
well, you should see the pageant that they put on in Bethlehem. I mean, they do. They have a preacher come in and bless the room before they begin. Then they do the Pledge of Allegiance, and they have like a whole thing that they do there.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. It's definitely awesome that you're out there and you're speaking up, especially trying to make sure that not only your message of trying to get this paperwork is out there, but then also it's nice the fact that you have a platform to be able to speak on and actually have a council that is going to listen to you. Now, my whole question is, do you feel like they're going to do anything now that they have this information?
No one had a single comment to say. I let them know that they were playing legal games and that I had a court order for the records, and I asked counsel to please intervene. They had not a single comment. They were silent. totally silent. I stood there for a second, gave them a chance to speak, and I said, well, that's my piece. So I sat through a 2-hour-long council meeting. It was one of the most long and boring ones that I've ever seen. And
Are they ever entertaining?
This one was particularly boring. They were arguing over something, so everybody had to talk 50 times. It was particularly boring, but so I sat there the whole time, waited to say my piece, hoping that I would be able to convince them to look into this and to investigate. And no, they didn't. No comment. They had nothing to say. They don't care. This is handled between the lawyers, and the council, I think, likes to put their heads in the sand and pretend everything's good. Like I said, they put on that nice little pageant. All the chief of police is there. All the representatives from City Hall are there wearing suits and ties, like sitting in the audience, just looking all nice and professional. Although I did videotape my speaking, and there is a point where you can visibly see the chief of police like vomit in his mouth or something. I don't know. He really
how dare he speak against my decisions?
He made a face like he was just like, and he started kicking his foot, and it's all perfectly caught on video in high definition video.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is fantastic.
Oh, it was great. So how's your week been, man? You got any contact? Did you go out and do any filming? I did actually film after that council meeting.
No contact in the sense of. Do we have
we are getting a call on the call-in line, so let me see. Hello, Copblock Radio Show.
Hey, man. This is Tim from Waukesha Copblock.
Hey, what's up?
And just kind of throw out a couple ideas.
Sure. Go ahead.
Is this Severin?
Yes, this is Severin. We're live on the air right now. This is Tim from what Copblock group?
Yeah, this is Tim from Waukesha Copblock.
Waukesha Copblock. Okay.
I'm just a little bit west of Milwaukee.
All right.
Isn't that where what's his name? Isaiah is from?
So
yeah, that's where Isaiah is from, the writer, right?
Say that again, bro.
Anyway, go ahead. What was your comment? What did you want to comment on?
Okay, I wanna throw out the idea. There's been a lot of people who have been given BLM, Black Lives Matters, a hard time.
Okay.
And I've seen some of your posts, brother,
okay.
And I'm wondering when you believe everything became equal. When, like if you have a date in mind of when cops stopped messing with Black people specifically because they're Black. Essentially, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, are you asking? When do I think things started breaking? My answer to that, quite simply, is I think things have been broken since the beginning. I think the invention of the cell phone and the camera really brought this to the public's attention. But I mean, there's been stories about the cop gangsters back in the days of Prohibition days. There are all kinds of stories like in our history of police doing things that were against the law at the time that we look back and we say, oh, maybe it was a good thing. Maybe something in history happened that made them right. But we've seen police doing what they want to do for a very long time, all the way back to their creation. We are cutting to a commercial break. I thank you, Tim, for calling in. Anybody can call in again. We are at 413-418-COPS. We'll be right back with more Copblock Radio after this. You can't hear the commercials, can you? I can't believe this. They got rid of their plugin that allows the...
Severin commercials can't be heard.
Negative interest rates. For more information, call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Badati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com.
Hi, how's the audio?
Gift.
Hey,
Remember,
it sounds good. We're on
that's
commercial break. I'll let you know when we get right back on.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
I'm just really glad there wasn't any squealing this time.
Right. Welcome back. This is Severin Freeman from Lehigh Valley Cop Block.
This is Matthew Taylor of Carbon County Cop Block and Question Your Perception.
I think Matt is. I don't know where Matt is. What happened to Matt?
You can't hear Matt? Hello? Okay, I think everybody else but you can hear Matt.
Oh, I got you. Now I hear you again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you had me turned off.
Yeah, I'm a jerk like that sometimes. My bad. So we got a caller on the line. We were going into a story in this segment about the Kranton, I think it's called, or Kratom. The substance that the FDA has recently outlawed. It's been all over the news, and it's the first I've ever heard of this. Matt, have you ever heard of this stuff before?
In passing, but I honestly think our
robot voice.
Guest...
Damn, robot voice.
You're a robot.
You're a robot. Seriously, your robot voice came back there for a minute. But anyway, we have. I really never knew anything about this, but apparently now that it's being outlawed, there are large groups of people speaking out because of its medical benefits. So we have Lorelei from it's Virginia, Northern Virginia, Copblock, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, how you doing, Lorelei?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to getting some education on this. Can you tell us more about what's going on with this substance and what it's all about?
Sure. And thanks for having me on.
No problem.
It's Kratom, and I actually found out how to actually pronounce it myself, even though I've been spelling it for several years online now. Actually, it's kind of been having a growing swell of attention brought to it. It's kind of been under the radar, but more people were finding out about it, which of course has also been its downfall. And this Kratom ban is huge because we're actually on the precipice of another phase of prohibition against an herbal medicine that people are using to effectively treat serious medical conditions. Basically, Kratom is today where marijuana was 46 years ago, except nobody knew how big of a deal it was when it happened 46 years ago. And now we're still fighting, trying to get people access to marijuana, recreationally, which is nobody's business.
What is it sold as currently? Is it a like dietary supplement? Is this something that you can buy at a GNC? I've never heard of this. Where would one locate this if they needed it?
You would buy it through one of the various online vendors that imports it from places like Southeast Asia, where it has been used traditionally as a medication for pain and also as a treatment for people that are addicted to opium. Actually, the reason it became illegal in Thailand, where it is still illegal today, is because people were using it to the extent that it was cutting into the opium trade. And Thailand's government was getting tax money from opium, so they didn't really want any competition. And so it was banned for economic reasons.
This has been able to be used in the United States and just ordered as though I was ordering anything else off Amazon, and there has been no issue. Now, what has changed between then and now? Has there been any deaths? Has there been any people abusing this that shouldn't? What is happening that the FDA seems to want to move on this?
Well, there's kind of a number of prongs about this, but one is that some people are selling it as a legal high. It's related to the coffee plant, and a lot of people have said that the effects are kind of like having a cup of coffee. But some people do, like I said, use it as a legal high. But most people that I know of are using it either to step down from using heroin and prescription painkillers because they were addicted, or they're using it as an actual painkiller for chronic pain conditions.
And now, is this something that somebody can use to try to detox off of heroin and other opiates?
Yes.
So it helps.
Yes.
Has anyone died?
No, the DEA is referencing 15 deaths, and of those, 9, I think, were in Sweden, related to somebody that was actually putting actual opioid medications in the substance instead of kratom and giving it to people, and so that was why they died. And then the other cases that they referenced were people who were mixing it with other hard drugs. And kratom is not a hard drug. It's, like I said, it's an herb. It's related to the coffee plant. You can't overdose.
Is this something that big pharma, the big pharmacy companies, Merck and companies that create medications that are widely used to also detox off of drugs, is this something these companies are lobbying against?
Well, I'll get to that in a second, but I just wanted to say that it's not possible for you to really overdose on kratom. It doesn't have the respiratory depression that you see with heroin and oxycodone and stuff like that. Basically, you will throw up if you eat too much kratom. But everybody's kind of going for big pharma on this. And certainly they have a big incentive to keep people on, Suboxone and on methadone, which, by the way, is causes 1 in 3 overdoses.
Awful. Oh my God.
Causes
awful.
1 in 3 overdoses for prescription painkillers, even though it's only 2% of prescriptions.
I've watched so many friends try to get off of opiates by using methadone or Suboxone, and the withdrawal off of those drugs are worse than the heroin itself. I've just seen some people be so sick off of the drugs that are supposed to help them. It's just those drugs are awful in my opinion. So if there's a less fatal, less narcotic version that is out there that can easily be ordered, no wonder big pharma's like, no way, we don't want this. So what is the FDA's new labeling? Is it going to be allowed to even be prescribed or suggested by a doctor, or are they going with strictly no medical value, dangerous in all forms?
That is correct. They're going for the DEA is going for Schedule 1. But actually, aside from big pharma, it looks like the biggest player here is actually the supplements industry, dietary supplements, because there are published letters from their manufacturing lobbying groups going back to 2013 of them actually begging the FDA to intervene and crack down on these online vendors who were selling kratom. And it's completely bogus, because in the letters they were saying things about how they were concerned about consumers buying a product that they mistakenly thought was safe and regulated, which is hilarious because dietary supplements are not FDA approved. And when people do test to see what's in them, 80% of the time, they don't even contain what's on the product label. So
now, since this has been unregulated and now will be in the future totally unregulated because they're making it outlawed, but since this is unregulated, is there any estimates on how much the Kranton industry makes? How much is a dose? Like, what is the street value of this stuff?
That I don't have. I think what it's selling for online right now is $4 an ounce and maybe like 75, 80 a kilo. That might have come up a little bit because, people are trying to sell off what they have, and, some people are buying more than they would have in the past.
Well, we're going to a commercial break. Thank you for joining us, Lorelei, and for educating us on this. I definitely want to look into this further now. I mean, this is crazy that the FDA would once again prove that it does not have the American people in their interests. They have big money in their pockets. That's all they care about. We'll be right back with more Cop Block Radio. All right, Lorelei, we're out. Thank you again for joining.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I know you can't hear me, but you were awesome.
Yeah, you can join anytime you would like. I'll send you a message later. Well, thank you again for joining, though.
Okay, great. Talk to you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Her audio was nice.
Yeah, her audio was beautiful. Damn, I really would have liked. There were some questions I wish I could have been able to directly ask her, because I wanted to know, like, is it sold in powder? Is it sold in pill? That kind of thing.
Sold in powder form. I saw some stuff out there since it's been outlawed. I don't get it.
Just helping you there. Okay, let's throw on commercials.
At nhliberty.info.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Tipping. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin tip returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card Bitcoin tip that's easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets and spending, and returns to the tipper if unused. Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit shiresociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for lrn.fm in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to lrn.fm. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand it's about demonstrating to the entire country.
Yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market, making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing. To be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Copblock Radio, and we're having fun tonight.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool hearing from Lorelei. She's never called in, but her audio was incredibly clear. Thank you for that, Lorelei. That was
absolutely. You know what? And we hope that everybody who starts to call in can, turn around and give us some nice audio like that, so we don't have to edit after the show is over.
Last week's show, we had a caller last week whose volume was just out of control, and it took me 2 hours of editing. I had to render it 3 different times and normalize the audio for it to give me a final product that was listenable.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of callers, don't we have something that we can give away?
Maybe. Do we like everybody enough to give stuff away?
Yeah, you know what? Let's give some stuff away.
Well, I don't know if I want to do a caller, though, because callers really sound bad when they call in sometimes, and I already unplugged the call-in line.
But how are they going to contact us?
What if they contact us via Facebook, and we'll make it the second or third person to contact us? That way... Or no, wait, we want to have incentive for them to go right away. So the first...
Yeah.
The first. How about we do that, Matt? You like that?
All right, yeah. The next person to contact Copblock Radio on Facebook and send us a message saying "I love Copblock Radio" will receive a free copy of The Victimless Crime Spree by Derek J.
Victimless Crime Spree.
So, guys, get on over to Copblock on Facebook. Send us that message. And, guys, the first person to send us that, not only will we announce you as the winner on Copblock Radio Live, but then we will get back to you and set up how we're going to ship that out to you. But I see Severin just went on the phone, so I think he's getting a call from somebody. And I want to go ahead and do an update of sorts from a story that broke last year in July. Now, there was a 19-year-old named Zachary Hammond who, God, this is a story that really bothers me. All right. He's on a date with a 23-year-old, and she decides to use his phone to text somebody and ask if they wanted to buy some drugs. Well, unfortunately, she used the wrong phone number and ended up texting a state trooper. Well, they haven't released how they got the location of where the two were. I'm going to go ahead and say that they probably used some sort of GPS tracking through the network's cooperation, but that's just my assumption. That's not been verified. There was no warrant asked for this, so there's no way to actually 100% tell. But anyways, responding to this was Seneca Lieutenant Mark Tiller. Now, when he arrived at a Hardee's parking lot on July 26, 2015. He approaches the side of the vehicle, the driver's side, which at this time, Mr. Hammond was the driver. Hammond, being 19 years old, freaked out because he just had this officer just walk right up next to him after pulling up. Freaks out and starts to drive away, and the officer fires 2 shots into the car. He claims self-defense, and his acting chief, John Covington, actually said that he acted in self-defense, and there was a big hoopla about actually getting the footage released.
Acted in self-defense.
He acted in self-defense, but the autopsy found that Hammond was shot twice, once in the left shoulder and actually once from behind. Now, they
immediately rushed in and arrested this guy, right? They immediately kicked down his door, right?
Oh, absolutely not. They, in fact, went the complete opposite route and went to victim blaming. Yeah, they went to the victim blaming instead. What they decided to do is they decided that they were going to attack John Hammond's character. They wanted to paint him as this disruptive kid. They wanted to paint him as this drug dealer. All these different stories that they started coming out with, trying to paint him in the worst light possible so they could turn around and get these charges to go away. Well, it seemed like they were on the verge of that until October rolled around and the dash cam footage was finally released. And well, that dash cam footage showed a completely different story. Severin, do you remember when this footage came out?
I do. This was like it was about a year ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was October. It was October when this came out. And do you remember what that showed?
Yeah, that he was shooting at the car as it was driving away.
Yeah, what it does is it shows him walk up to the side of the car, and as he's walking up, Hammond pulls away. And he doesn't hit him. He doesn't come close to hitting him. He makes a pretty wide turn around him. And you see the officer turn, draw his weapon, and start to follow the car as it's moving and starts firing shots. Now, everything else took place off camera, but unfortunately, Mr. Hammond died. Well, here we are now.
Didn't he crash right away? He went right into a truck.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember this case, but I think I do remember this one.
It was a petty drug stop. That's what it was. He had less than 3 grams of marijuana on him at the time of this happening. And, when they show the video, what it shows is just this overzealous cop basically playing drug warrior. And, just the second that he starts to drive away, he doesn't do what he's supposed to do. He draws his weapon and just starts firing into the car. Now, his date, who was a 23-year-old by the name of Tori Morton, was arrested for pot at that point, and the toxicology report came back and said that not only was she high, but so was John. But so was Mr. Hammond. Well, anyways, I don't know why I said John Hammond. I don't think that he's I don't think he's making Jurassic Park, but every time I hear Hammond, I just think of Jurassic Park. So anyways, a toxicology report comes back and says that they were both high on pot. Well, the U.S. attorney...
Think of the children.
The children. Think of everybody at risk of this kid who was high on a little bit of weed. Well, anyways, long story short, in March... Hammond's family decided that they were going to file a lawsuit against the city of Seneca, the Seneca Police Department, Chief John Covington, and Lieutenant Mark Tiller. And it was settled for the amount of $2,150,000. Well, Covington then turned around and this last Friday revealed that Tiller had been terminated from the police department. So they let him go due to a personal matter, but Hammond family said that in a statement that they were grateful of this decision. But at the end of the day, okay, they let him go. They paid out this fine because this settlement because they know they were wrong. But no charges were ever filed.
So he lost his job. He probably got to keep his pension, right?
Oh yeah.
And
does this seem right to you at all?
Pension, and he Nice. So
yeah,
he gets to murder somebody. It's basically a free murder card. He didn't have to answer for the murder itself. He was basically told by his job, oh, well, your performance was too low, so we're going to just choose to terminate you. But no, like, really? That happens when people ring people up wrong at the register, not when they murder them.
Yeah, you know what? This brings me back to a concern that, or not a concern, but an idea I had from a good long while ago, and I'm not the only one who shares this. Now, when you have these kind of cases and they turn around and they don't file, charges against the officers, but then the city still ends up paying out these massive settlements because of it, it should not come then from the taxpayers, because the taxpayers weren't the ones who fucked up. It was the police department. It was the police officer. It was justice all in its own. So at that point, it shouldn't be the taxpayers paying these settlements out. It should come out of the police pension fund. Because I can tell you right now, if they had to start paying for all their mistakes out of their own pockets instead of the pockets of the people, you would see a very large drop in all of these in all these brutality cases, because then there's then there's some sort of accountability. If you have an officer that turns around and does something stupid and has to pay for it out of their own pockets, out of their own pensions, they're not going to be doing it again.
Mm-hmm. You talked up until the break.
When did we go out? Did I finish before the break?
Like the last sentence was not on.
Okay. I said fuck on air. Damn it.
I was waving my hand, but nobody saw it.
Few well-chosen words can help level the playing field with Goliath. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com. Recently, I saw a Yellow Pages ad for an appliance repair company, and the headline read, "Why wait for Sears?" If you're going to the Yellow Pages, the Dead Sea Scrolls of advertising, you're ready to buy right now. So this is an attention-grabbing message. And how about the plumber whose radio ad says, "Call by noon Thursday and we'll be there Saturday at no extra cost"? Smart guy. Most plumbing firms give their crew the weekend off. This one gives them Sunday and Monday off. In the words of a respected advertising executive, cut to the chase, make it quick, and tell me exactly what you can do for me, especially if you're looking for work. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
The three most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1, let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same great prices, and LRN gets a cut. Please do your online shopping at shop.lrn.fm. There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap, coincap.io.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets. Free Talk Live.
3-year-old child lost his arm after being viciously attacked by a pit bull terrier earlier this month.
Gosh.
Now the incident has moved a state lawmaker to author legislation that will effectively ban the pit bull breed in the entire state of Oklahoma.
Wow. Wouldn't all of Mr. Wesselhoff's constituents be a little safer if we all just couldn't have any dogs at all?
That's true. It would guarantee that no one would be bitten by dogs.
Right, and no
What
cats.
about cats? They scratch people.
They do scratch people, and it leaves a nasty infection.
It could, certainly.
Certainly.
We should ban infections, too, while we're at it. I mean, while we're protecting everyone from everything.
Birds can carry the flu. We know that.
We should just exterminate all animals with teeth.
Well, forget the teeth. The birds have no teeth. I say we kill them all.
Just every animal.
Yeah.
Okay. What about insects? You could just sign a law that bans mosquitoes.
That'd be great.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.LRN.FM for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.LRN.FM.
I bet you didn't know you were listening to Copblock Radio on LRN.FM.
Oh my God, we were?
Freeman from Lehigh Valley Copblock. I'm here to entertain you tonight, and I hope that you love it.
This is Matthew Taylor of Carbon County Copblock and Question Your Perception podcast, here to just shamelessly self-promote myself while you guys listen along. But let's talk about something funny real quick.
Before we jump into any stories, I gotta remind the audience, everybody watching us on YouTube, everybody that enjoys our the way that we broadcast. This is the last week that Google Hangouts is allowing us to broadcast the way that we do.
Yep.
Sad. Are you gonna cry, Matt?
There's a slight tear.
Why would
you know what? I absolutely agree with that sound clip, because this is such an easy and just great way for people to be able to put their podcasts out. It's integrated into YouTube, all of that, and they almost went the Apple way of doing things, where instead of being really good and easy and having it clear cut of how to do something you already know how to do, they want you to do it their way, and therefore make it really annoying and difficult, which is why instead of just hitting play or a button that says go live, now we got to go through all these steps of doing an encoder, figuring out
I figured out the encoder today. I did a test run on the YouTube page, and it worked. And it was as easy as clicking start broadcasting.
Sweet.
But it's different. It's way different. It's a lot harder to work through. I can't do the usual things where I move through my screens. I have to do everything on a separate computer because my screen is what's being broadcasted. It's not anything other than my screen and our call in the screen. So the other good news, news is we will be on YouTube still, and we're going to try it out. Hopefully it works out, everybody that watches us on YouTube. If it doesn't, you just won't be able to watch us live. We'll still upload the show after we're done.
Here's a plus side too. No matter what, we're still going to be live on LRN.FM every week, same as normal. So if you guys are out there listening to us on your radios or on your web browsers and whatnot, don't fear, we will still be here. But
I suggest to anybody who likes listening to us, you check out the podcast version of our show on SoundCloud. SoundCloud
yes,
is the final version after it's edited, after the audio is nice and level. It's just a beautiful listening experience. I put a lot of work into that thing. Get over that. We even cut the commercials out. It's just great.
And my creamy, milky, lovely audio is brought to you by anti-establishment.com. That's anti-establishment.com. If you want to be a walking billboard to change the mind of the sheeple, go ahead and head on over there and become part of the movement. But
so you know about gun and buyback programs, Matt?
Oh my God, dude! Every time I see this, I just laugh to myself.
What is the logic behind this? They offer you $100 for, I guess, if anybody can go up and say, "I found a gun. It's not a gun that should be on the street. I'll take my $100 for being a good Samaritan." Is that kind of an idea?
Yes and no, because people can also take in their guns too and do it.
Who would do that?
It's wildly ineffective.
Who in their right mind would pay $1,000 for a nice gun and turn around and sell it to the police for $100?
Nobody at all. But what it allows them to do is put out a nice PR story saying they've removed this many guns from the street and, potentially, they stopped it from falling into the hands of criminals. And everybody goes, oh, yay, they did good. And it's just a big old dog and pony show. It's exactly what it is. And you know what? Minneapolis, Minnesota, they got themselves made real good fun of this week. And the reason why they did is because somebody took this idea and just trolled the crap out of them by taking a block of wood, a steel pipe, and some duct tape, taping it around, writing shotgun on the side of it, and putting it in front of them going, I'll take my $100. And you know what? They paid him. They paid him. It's
now,
been all,
did they go after him? What did they do to this guy? I imagine there's their documentation. That's part of the draw, but they gave him
$100. They gave him a $100 gift card. That's exactly what they did.
That's pretty funny. So we actually have Minnesota cop blockers that come on all the time. I want to talk to them after this episode and find out if they heard about this and what they did to troll them. Were they behind this?
No, actually, but what's really interesting about this too is, okay, when they bring the gun in, they turn around and, they take your driver's license information, they take all this stuff and everything. So, I know the question might come around of, well, what happens if the gun's been used in a crime? What happens if the gun's hot? Well, this is how they find that. If somebody's dumb enough to turn around and take a gun that they've used in a crime and trade it in to try to get $100 back for it, obviously they take these guns and test their ballistics as much as they possibly can. So if it links back to you, you might have just been the guy who found the gun, or it might have just been, Uncle Jerry's who's passed away, and you take this in because you're not a fan of guns, and you see a way to get $100, and next thing you know, you're handing in a piece of a crime, and they'll charge you for that. That's how people catch cases for just doing absolutely nothing but participating in these stupid programs that are just meant to entrap people into the system. But that's not the only really ridiculous story that I've rolled across this week. I'd say probably the most ridiculous one is coming out of North Carolina, where a man was arrested for failing to return a VHS rental that he rented 14 years ago. All right. What? Yeah. So this comes from a man named James Mayer, who is from Concord, Connecticut. And he was served Tuesday with an arrest, or this was a couple months ago. He was served a couple months ago with an arrest warrant and was charged for failing to return a rental property from 2002. It's a misdemeanor crime punishable by an up to $200 fine. Well, you want to know what VHS this was?
What was it? Hopefully,
Tom Green's Freddy Got Fingered.
Oh my
God!
God!
You imagine?
He threw it. So this is the community of
this is what happened. The guy's driving down the street, right? Got a broken taillight. They pull him over. Well, they come up to the side of the vehicle and get his license and registration. They run it back and they come up to him and they go, "Listen, I've got some bad news for you. We're going to have to arrest you over the fact that you didn't return this VHS from 2002. Now, here's the kicker, right? The store that actually filed the lawsuit, it was a civil suit that turned criminal when he didn't appear for it. The company that filed this, obviously being a rental store, is no longer in business because those are honestly just things of a dead civilization nowadays. So he's being arrested because he didn't pay a company that doesn't exist anymore. So even if they turn around and he pays this $200 fine, it's not like that's going back to the company for restitution. That's just put inside the hands of the pockets of the local government. So now, being the class act that he is, Tom Green himself actually caught wind of this. And,
it gets better.
Oh, it does. He catches wind of this and it's just, obviously, that's one of those things you hear and go, oh man, the onion strikes again. People think it's real. Well, it turns out this is a real story. And Tom Green actually contacts the man who was arrested and basically tells him, like, listen, this is absolutely ridiculous. Do not worry about it. I've got your legal fees. And then in classic Tom Green style, decides to reenact the whole "Daddy, would you like some sausages" scene over the phone before hanging up. So it does have somewhat of a happy ending, but at the end of the day, there's still that troubling fact that the government or that the police department felt that they had nothing else better to do than to arrest somebody over a VHS from 2002.
They do this all the time. I mean, they got to make their numbers. I honestly think that like half of their arrests anymore are simply just to make numbers. It's hard to keep up with the amount of people that you hear about that are charged with things that are obviously innocent. The cops just do it to get the charges on the record. Then they get promoted, and what happens in court is not their concern. Well, we're going to be right back after the half with an interesting story. We'll be right back with more Cop Block Radio.
Cop Block Radio.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think? Excuse me. There is no video audio no, I have work today. This is you ain't gonna make me. Now, wait a minute. Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Because you scared me. What am I being paid for? We're being served. What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
On the second Saturday of every month, the Texas Republic Congress meets in a joint session. To learn how you can attend or become a member of Congress, visit thetexasrepublic.com. And together, we can liberate Texas.
More Cop Block Radio is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keenan, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, September 7th, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.96 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,349 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $617. Antiwar.com reports Turkish Deputy Prime Minister Numan Kurtulmuş on Tuesday sought to distance his government from a month and a half of allegations of American involvement in the failed July military coup, saying there is no evidence that America even knew that the coup was going to happen, let alone that they were involved. Several Turkish officials, including President Erdogan, had made claims of a foreign power backing the coup, usually with references to cleric Fethullah Gulen being based in Pennsylvania. Pro-government media outlets were more overt in allegations accusing top U.S. military personnel and the CIA of direct involvement in the attempt. Turkey is eager to get Gulen extradited from the U.S., and it seems the accusations were part of a strategy to convince the U.S. to prove its loyalty to Turkey by speeding up the process. With the U.S. now making it clear that it's not going to happen, they're backing away. Kurtulmuş did, however, say that Turkey still expects that the U.S. will ultimately hand over Gulen, though he conceded that it might take some time because of the judiciary process. The U.S. has insisted that the extradition request, though including substantial paperwork, included not a single piece of evidence of Gulen's involvement in the coup. Gulen has denied any role in the coup and condemned it. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with the government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports a former swimmer for Stanford University on Tuesday registered as a sex offender after completing half of his court-imposed jail sentence. Brock Allen Turner was released from the Santa Clara County
Turner's the bitch.
The custody of his parents in Ohio. The swim star was forced to register as a sex offender immediately on Tuesday, according to the Greene County Sheriff's Office, the first day of business this week following the Labor Day holiday. Turner, while a freshman at the prestigious California institution, sexually assaulted an unconscious woman on campus, a story that made national headlines. After he was convicted, Turner was expelled from the university before he completed his first year. He will now serve 3 years of probation and must remain a sex offender for the rest of his life. Under the terms of sex offender registration, Turner must update his status every 90 days. His next deadline is December 5th. His neighbors will also receive notification that a sex offender lives nearby, and authorities will make random unannounced visits to his home. On the registration form, Turner stated details of the sexual assault on a 23-year-old woman outside a Stanford fraternity. In March, he was convicted of 3 felonies: assault with intent to rape an intoxicated woman, sexually penetrating an intoxicated person with a foreign object, and sexually penetrating an unconscious person with a foreign object. Turner, who is 21, faced a decade in prison for the assault, but received a 6-month sentence. He was released after 3 months. The punishment stirred national outrage. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports nearly 24 people were injured when a Metrolink commuter train carrying nearly 200 passengers crashed into a semi-truck on Tuesday morning in Los Angeles, according to fire officials. The collision occurred around 10:40 a.m. local time in the Sun Valley neighborhood of Los Angeles, according to the Los Angeles Fire Department. The department said 21 people were taken to area hospitals with minor injuries. The driver of the truck was uninjured, according to the fire department. Dozens of firefighters and medical personnel triaged the train's 187 passengers, according to fire department spokesman Eric Scott. Scott said the crash occurred in an intersection and the crossing guard arm appeared to have been broken. Officials from the fire department and Metrolink said the 5-car double-decker train suffered very minor damage and was able to continue on its route. Law enforcement were conducting an investigation into the crash. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The American Psychiatric Association has issued an alarming study warning that the nation's used car salesmen are going completely insane, and in some extreme cases, practically giving cars away. The APA traces the outbreak of widespread hysteria to an apparent overstock of high-quality late-model cars begging to be driven off the lot today. Some severe symptoms include delusions, manic exuberance, and the psychotic commitment to offer the lowest prices guaranteed. Victims' families are joining together to raise awareness of this serious psychological epidemic.
The authorities found out how unbelievably low his prices were. They'd lock up and throw away the key.
You are not alone. Over half of America's used car salesmen are currently going bonkers.
Car dealers suffering from this condition are prone to project their own disorders onto others. According to Mad Max, the Car Czar's website, you're out of your mind if you're not taking advantage of these low prices.
This is the Onion News Network.
We're back from our break. This is Severin Freeman from Lehigh Valley Cop Block.
And this is Matthew Taylor of Carbon County Cop Block and Question Your Perception podcast.
And as always, you can call in. The call-in line on Skype is Cop Block Radio. And the call-in line phone number, if you must use it, is 413-418-COPS. That's 413-418-COPS.
So, just to go in line with the ridiculous stories that we were that we left on, Severin, I got a question for you.
Sure.
How pissed off as a parent would you be? Because I know you have a little one at home.
Mm-hmm.
How pissed off would you be if one day you're opening up your mail and you saw that the city of Bethlehem had addressed a ticket to your 2-year-old?
I might actually have fun with that. I don't know.
Well, it's.
I would laugh. I would definitely go down there and like.
It's one of those things that we would come to expect because we know just how ridiculous our system is. But unfortunately, for a Washington D.C. family, that's exactly what ended up happening to them. See what.
The news report for this story, if you want to hear it.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's do that because I bet you this is just classic.
Because so many people are out there and say Cop Block as an organization just makes things up. So here's ABC News reporting on the 2-year-old that caught a ticket for littering. Give me just 1 second to get this popped up.
I still can't believe that. I thought this was The Onion too.
When I first saw this, I was like, "What? I hate it when there's a satire article on the."
Yeah, I went straight to see who wrote it, and I was like, "Come on, I bet you this is Josh," because Josh Hodgkins is notorious for writing our satire pieces. And when I realized it wasn't him, I was like, "Oh God, this is real."
All right, I'm gonna press play on this story real quick.
Yep.
If it'll let me.
Pretty hard to believe. Would you believe a ticket for littering issued to a 2-year-old? How would that happen? Well, Richard Reeves spoke with the ticketed toddler's family tonight, and he got an apology, which the family rather got an apology from DPW. Rich checks in now live to tell us about the story. Rich, what in the world happened here?
Leon, this all began with the discovery of an envelope in this alley. We actually have a picture of it. This is the citation report from the city. It has the girl's name and address on it, but nobody bothered to find out who this person was or the fact that she was just 2 years old.
In this alley off West Virginia Avenue,
heard that it was a 2-year-old illegal dumper. So I'm like, wow, really?
Trash cleanup after a trash mix-up.
Put some common sense into this.
Caught in the middle, little Harper Westover, after this envelope with her name on it was found by a DPW crew.
So we found ID material.
On Thursday, Harper's mother, Teresa, was going through the mail.
I opened up an envelope that listed Harper as having violated DC's littering code.
She called the DPW, spoke with the inspector, trying to get the $75 ticket rescinded.
Just because you find a piece of mail on the ground obviously doesn't mean that that person was the one that put it there.
A promised call from a supervisor never materialized. After some back and forth, DPW spokesperson Andre Lee showed up.
Yeah, I apologize to him for the mistake, but we're doing our job.
The Westovers figured the envelope somehow fell out of their trash.
She's not a criminal. And that's the ironic thing, is that we talk to her all the time about picking up trash.
So no citation, no fine, but a plea against red tape.
There obviously needs to be some common sense layered into this system somewhere.
That's asking for way too much out of the police right there. Common sense.
Newsletter for kids. The Westovers say they hope this will be a teaching moment for the city and they'll more closely monitor what comes out in the garbage. In Northeast Washington, Richard Reeve, ABC 7 News.
Oh my God, dude. I'm like white girl and can't even over here right now.
That happened.
like, okay.
And the best part about the whole story is the union rep that came out and said, "We were just doing our jobs, guys.
We were just doing our jobs." Yeah. Well, you know what? You just went on national television and said, "Yeah, you know what? We definitely police for profit because we are so hard up for cash that the second we see some garbage on the ground with somebody's name on it, we're just going to turn around and we're going to issue them a fine." And that's just crazy because, I mean, primarily what they said, that's where they put their garbage and it fell out. So probably what happened was it was a loose piece of garbage inside of their garbage can. And when the garbage man turned around and threw it in, it blew out. Oh my God. The world is ending.
It was in the location where they put their trash. So this guy digging around people's trash looking for something that fell out so he could ticket somebody. Like, really, this is what we're paying these cops for. This was seriously what this guy was doing. It wasn't an accident. He was digging, cutting through people's trash area for a reason. He was hoping to be able to ticket somebody.
While this was playing, I decided to look up what the average salary of a DC officer is. Do you want to take a guesstimate there, Severin?
I don't. It'll make me sick. I know that. What is it?
$67,000 a year.
Nice.
$67,000 a year, and we as a country,
I can't hate on that part of it because if somebody wanted to hand me $67,000 a year to do stupidness, I don't know.
Listen, if somebody paid me $67,000 a year to do the stuff like people were doing on MTV's Jackass, yeah, I could morally justify doing that. But if somebody was handing me $67,000 to walk around the street and look for people's garbage being on the ground so we could
start out at that point. It started out that they were a low-paying job, and suddenly the hero aspect came into it, and now they're one of the highest-paying jobs in the country. They get outpaid by teachers by a lot.
Which is crazy. These people are out there and they are patrolling our streets, trying to keep them safe, when realistically you can see right here that this is just another way that to prove the fact that revenue is more important than safety. Yet the people who are out there educating the next generation of people to go and keep this whole civilization, that the human experiment going, gets paid like crap. I mean, don't even get me started on just how much issues I have with public schooling. I think anybody who knows me knows, not only from my high school experiences, but just also in general, I'm not a big fan of the public schools in America. But, it's crazy because these people, they're getting paid so much, like you said, because of the hero aspect, when you can turn around and look up the top 20 most dangerous jobs in America, and guess what doesn't fall on that list?
Well, what I don't get is how there isn't even a bidding involved. It's just set by the police unions. Like, this is how much you want our protection services. This is how much. And, if we put out a job for $40,000 a year, I bet you people would come and apply for it and be cops in a local town. But no, it's not an option to put out a competition. It's not an option to even offer competition. Like, I have a police force in my town that takes $1 million a year to maintain, and another police force B comes and says, "Hey, we'll do that same job for $500,000. I'm not allowed to even entertain that option because I'm forced to pay for option A.
Yet they're supposed to be working for us. It's a paradox. But anyways, what really drives me nuts, and I think about this on all the different things that I do throughout my month. We're just going to use month that I take for granted. Let's say like getting my hair cut, or where the person who cuts my hair must go to school for no less than a year. So they have the license to be able to take my hair and take a pair of scissors to it and clip the hair off. They have this education, and most times far more before they're even allowed to do this as a business. Yet 6 months of training, and these people are supposed to know the laws in and out and be out there and enforce it. It takes more effort.
Had a point, man. Kaepernick had a point. A hairdresser has more time in a classroom learning things than a cop does. We're going to be right back with another segment. We have another great story you guys are going to love when we come back.
Story that keeps on giving on Copblock Radio.
Story that keeps on giving.
$0.02 per ounce. Bitcoin is $611 US. Economic indicators drove metals higher yesterday as the Fed considers negative interest rates. For more information, call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
FoodForLiberty.com sells high-quality, storable foods from Numana. And right now, take advantage of our summer special. Purchase 2 family packs and we'll send you a Pro Pure Water Pitcher, a $70 value, free. This premium pitcher is ideal for use with just about any water source and removes more contaminants than other brands. And it comes with a filter that lasts up to 2 full years. Whether you need to be prepared in the event of an emergency, you're an outdoor sports enthusiast, Numana is known for high-quality, great-tasting, GMO-free, super nutritious food with no chemical preservatives. And with a 25-year shelf life, you can't beat the feeling of being food secure when you need it most. Go to foodforliberty.com right now for great-tasting, high-quality, storable foods from Numana. Buy 2 family packs and get the Pro Pure Water Pitcher free. It makes good sense to be prepared. Get it at foodforliberty.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm.
Copblock has quickly become the top police accountability group in the United States, and maybe even the world. With chapters across the globe, there's probably a group near you that you can join. If not, you can start your own. Besides joining a local Copblock group, you can also give just $1 a month to the Copblock network. Your contribution helps support the efforts of those who make Copblock possible. So please join the Copblock network now at copblock.lrn.fm. That's copblock.lrn.fm.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website, fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper, FPP News, at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at lrn.fm.
Wow. This is the kitty cat. This is Copblock Radio. And I bet you want to know where you can get all the cool Copblock gear and Copblock.
I do.
Copblock. All the gear you need to get out there and make a statement. There's every different design, cool weather is coming. There's hoodies, there's sweatpants, there's every single thing you can think of is probably in that store. Copblock.org/store. Send a message to Dio. He runs the store. Tell him hello when you buy something. And make sure you mention the radio show.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he'll throw in an extra sticker or something if he's feeling nice.
You know, another place I want to tell you guys about is if you want to come and listen to this show and not do it live, why don't you find your way on over to SoundCloud, where we have so many episodes of this show cataloged and back cataloged to where you can go and listen to
episodes.
Yeah, and you guys can go and listen to any show you want on demand for free at any time. So, Severin, you have an update on the story that keeps on giving.
Yeah, we have joked this is the story that keeps on giving. I was sure we were done reporting on this lady. I was really sure. Anybody out there listening, you might remember a woman named Celeste Guap.
Woo! I love her.
She is the center of a Bay Area police sex scandal.
Listen, you know what? For the longest time, the most depressing story to come out of Oakland was definitely the Raiders. But for once, they are not the most depressing thing in Oakland.
This girl slept with half the police department. Now, some people might see her as more of a victim.
5 different departments.
Yeah, there are so many different departments. This story, you got to go to copblock.org and check out. Just type in Celeste Guap and see the complete just rabbit hole that is this story.
Oh, I think that hole's a lot bigger than a rabbit hole. Let's just be real. I mean, there are 31 different officers involved in this whole sex scandal. It's insane.
She started when she was 15 years old with police officers and has just ran through it. She is I don't know. She might be the answer to police accountability because so many cops have quit over this chick.
Yeah, right.
All we got to do is plan a bunch of attractive girls to sleep with them all, and we got it. Because this girl, she's not even attractive, but she slept with everybody in the department, and
it ain't easy
all
being
over the
sleazy,
news.
man.
Well, she's topped headlines once again, and it's not for her sex scandal this time. No, this time. She has an assault charge.
Ooh.
The police report says Guap ran from a rehab facility, removed her shirt, and flashed passing cars. A security officer convinced her to return to the facility, where the report says Guap became violent, biting one of the security guards on his arm. Once under arrest, the report says Guap was in the backseat of the patrol car and began beating her head against the car window and had to be restrained to prevent her from further hurting herself. She was taken into custody by Martin County Sheriff's Office on a charge of aggravated battery. Her bail has been set to $300,000. Or no, does that say $300? I don't. That's got to be
300. It's 300.
That's got to be a typo. Aggravated battery and a $300 bail. Are you
She's
serious?
in Florida, bro. She's in Florida right now. Of course it's $300. They have some craziness that goes on in Florida. Like that is bottom of the barrel. But you know what? Let's be real. There's some real thick irony to this story that you didn't bring up.
I'll just get into another twist to this. Confidentiality prevents the release of details of who's paying for the treatment. But Guap herself claims the Oakland Police Department had been paying themselves.
Yep.
They took advantage of her, passed her around from the time of 15 years old. She became a drug addict, and now the police department is paying for her treatment.
Yep. And they ship her from Oakland to Florida and enter her into a drug and sex addiction rehab and pay for it themselves. And sure enough, here she is. I mean, I seriously said to myself a couple months ago, this chick is one crazy stunt away from being the next Kim Kardashian. And you know what? I think she's doing it. I think this might be it. She was that one crazy stunt away from getting her own reality TV
But
show.
you think she's doing this on purpose? I think that she's really might be this disturbed, man. You don't sleep with that many different people in a couple year period of time, and you don't have a couple screws loose.
I mean, I can't say that because I at one point was a very promiscuous person, and you know what? When it comes down to it, I've got no judgment on the amount of people that she slept with or the amount of sex she had, because you know what? To be honest with you, that's none of any of our concern. I mean, it's just my big concern came down to the fact of the police who are taking advantage of a child who was under the age of 18 and having long-term sexual relationships with her and passing her around. And my biggest issue is that these officers are not finding themselves behind bars like anybody else would have if they were as old as they were, having sex with somebody as young as she was. And that's where my biggest issue comes down to it. Now, granted, yeah, okay, she might be somebody who, you know, she might be a badge chaser who just really loves the fact that they're cops and loves the whole thing. And honestly, nobody's told her that, you know, there's a good chance that she's going to get the crap kicked out of her by one of these guys because, you know, and we've covered it several different times on this show of just how big of an epidemic domestic violence is inside of the police families. But, you know, my issue, like I said, does not come with how much sex she was having, because let's be honest, we all know people who are perfectly normal and have no idea the fact that they are a very active sexually. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of your human experience as long as you're being safe and whatnot. But the big issue that comes down here is that not only did they take advantage of her, they got her addicted to these drugs, but now they're trying to hide it in such a way that they shipped her to the other side of the country in an attempt to try to get her out of the mainstream media and to get her to stop talking, so they can hope that this all goes away and they could stop having to clip more and more and more officers off of these 5 precincts. That's the big issue in this story. Because, I mean, it's just insane. I mean, now granted, with that being said, this chick is hilarious, okay? I mean, that story alone is like, honestly, that...
I don't understand how a rehab facility would press charges when one of the patients is losing their mind. I mean, I thought that was kind of part of the game there. They kind of expect people to be losing it. They're withdrawing from hardcore drugs usually.
Yeah, and you know, that's another reason why I believe in the bail being so low, is because it's one of those things that is honestly going to be thrown
it's being handled
out.
more as a medical situation,
Right?
Like, it sounds like she's got some serious issues, but she keeps hitting the news, so we'll keep talking about it because it's relevant. Yeah. We will be back with more after this commercial break.
We're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp, is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com. Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. you can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.lrn.fm. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit the Liberty Radio Network when you shop at Amazon via shop.lrn.fm.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek. Well, there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is God.
Hi, God.
I have killed Matt and Severin for their blasphemy against the police.
So,
welcome back. Sorry, that was fun. I had to do it.
Oh, where'd God go?
Aw.
He was making things interesting.
He had better things to do than watch Copblock Radio, I guess. Or no, he's a fan. That's why he calls in so often.
He does.
Yes.
Praise be to he who listens to Copblock Radio. So anyway, speaking of Copblock listeners, earlier I wanted to say something after we had that call in right before we went to break. Tim from which Copblock was he from? The
Wichita, something like that. I don't know.
Somewhere in Minnesota. Anyways, one of the a town from Minnesota, and he called in, and it sounded like he was basically calling you out. And the reason why it sounded,
I didn't hear that.
No, you didn't. He said in there, and I quote, I wanted, I've seen some of the posts that you've made recently, brother. Now,
I don't make any kind of inflammatory posts on Facebook. That's an absurd claim. I'm a completely neutral party.
Now, for you guys who have just tuned in, this is all concerning the Black Lives Matter movement. Okay? And his question came down to, when did it all become equal, and when did the black community start having less of an issue than the white community? And I don't think that's what any of us are saying. Any of us who thinks Black Lives Matters is stupid, because I think the movement in itself is stupid. Not for what they're trying to do, but how they're doing it. And here is why once again. Okay, so Tim, listen in really, really good this time. All right. So Black Lives Matter has a really good message, okay? It's saying that the people in the community of the minority, the minorities, they are being targeted at a higher rate than the white community. I'll give you that. But here's where my problem with the whole thing comes in. All right, when you turn around and you take something and you pigeonhole it to a race, you're pigeonholing your entire movement. So if you want to turn around and say that the Black Lives Matter, you're sitting there and it sounds like you're saying Black Lives Matter more as a problem, when it's not just a black problem. It's not just a white problem. It's not just an Asian problem. It's not just a Latino problem. It is an American problem, okay? It is an American problem that we have a police force that brutalizes people every single day. So when you turn around and you want to have a movement that is strictly about the betterment of treatment towards one race over another, that, my friend, is horse crap, all right? It is horse crap, because this is not something that we should be working on all these different fronts. We shouldn't be working on police brutality towards blacks. We shouldn't be just working on it towards just whites or just Latinos. We should be working on it as a whole. And when you have the ability to divide the entire movement through race, then you have the ability to conquer the entire movement and the entire reason that everybody is out there. This is just another divide and conquer tactic, which is why the mainstream media is jumping so hard on making sure that they say Black Lives Matters, because they're driving that divide home, because they are afraid if we as a society were to band together completely and stop this whole Black Lives Matter crap and just goes, police brutality sucks, let's change this shit, it would work, because there's so many of us out there that really want to see this change. But when you have it coming in from this faction, then you've got, people saying, well, white lives matter too, because yeah, they do. But when you have people saying white lives matter, Black lives matter, then you have the stupid, ignorant, racist people who turn around and go out there and they're like, well, white lives matter more because we're white. And you got the black people who are out there like, well, no, let's not be racist about this. And then what just happened? You have the movement itself fighting each other, and we break it down ourselves, and they don't have to fire a single shot. They don't have to fire a.
We can't have nice things. That's exactly what I said earlier. The other day. This is exactly why we cannot win this battle, is because it has been divided so many times, and we need to be united. We need to be a united front, all together, screaming no more, to jump out and you know what? Maybe there are many good, hardworking activists in the Black Lives Matter movement, but I have seen, and what I have seen personally, being on Facebook pages with some of these leaders who somehow are friends through mutual friends, I have seen the leadership say all we care about is the black community. I have seen the leadership say we don't have any agendas but the black agendas. We care about our black brothers and sisters, nothing else. I have seen this.
Yep.
This is stuff I have screenshots of. I've shared with people trying to show them my side of this argument. I am not saying every activist in Black Lives Matter is a racist person, but if this is the face of your leadership, then you need to check yourself on what organization you're backing, because you're backing the wrong pony right now. You're right now taking all the media glory that's coming with this, and it's hurting us in the end. It's making people be able to say this is nothing but manipulating a narrative and nothing but a problem with certain groups, not our problem, because the rich don't sit back and say this is our problem.
Nope.
And it's just as much my problem as it is Matt's problem, as it is anybody else's problem out there. But the rich and the powerful, they're not worrying about this. So why are we dividing each other when we should be coming together? You want to divide each other? Yeah, fine. Let's divide each other if that's what you want. But let's do it after we win this one.
Yeah, I mean, let's just go ahead and let's just take history into account, okay? Let's go back to the civil rights movement. Now, this was a very different time in America for sure. African Americans were fighting for their rights, their fundamental rights, to be seen as 100% American citizens the same way, regardless of color color or their creed. That's what they were fighting for. And you know what? That message almost lost. And you know why it almost lost? Because the African American community, while they were doing this, decided to go the route of violence and riot, which set them back years. But on top of that, for a while, especially through activists like Malcolm X, did not want the help of the white community. They wanted to stay to their own side. They wanted to go just African Americans making change for the African American community. And you know what? I'm not saying it's because the white man joined in, because it's not because the white man joined in a racist sense. It's because the country came together to make sure that this problem got solved. When you had people of all races, all religions, and everything coming together and marching in the Million Man March, and really just showing that the country itself was united behind this cause in the majority, that's when change started to happen. And when did that happen? When we decided to break down these racial walls and stop making it just a problem of one race. Because yes, they were fighting for the rights of one race, but they were sitting back and going, this isn't just the problem of one race. This is the problem that afflicts America right now. And that is what's going on again today. This is not just the problem of one race. This is the problem that afflicts America right now. So we all need to come together under one united flag and get this problem solved. Because the second we come together, there is nothing that we all can't do. But when we keep letting ourselves get divided, and we keep letting the media allow the race card to keep getting played in the way that they're playing it, all it does is make this movement look weak.
That's right where I was going to go with it. As long as you're putting out news clips that make us look divided, that's how they're going to keep everything the way that it is. You're feeding the fire instead of helping to put it out. We're going to cut into a commercial break, guys. We're going to be right back with more Cop Block Radio.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Pure Life Water, helping you drink better and live better by providing a zero-calorie alternative to sugary drinks. Visit us at nestle-purelife.us. When kids are playing, they often don't want to stop to keep hydrated. So send them out with a bottle of water and encourage them to take frequent drink breaks, or call them inside for a quick sip. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's post pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. Got to give props to Matt over here for bringing us something really awesome for the final segment. We were going to just have a regular story, but something broke in the news feed.
Yes. So finally, we have a presidential candidate with an arrest warrant out for them. It is about, wait. Oh no, it's the wrong one. Wait, it's the wrong one.
What do you mean wrong one? Shouldn't they all have arrest warrants out for them?
Yeah, but there's one in particular, Miss Hillary Clinton, who should have an ungodly amount of warrants out for her arrest right now, and we're just not seeing them. Whether it's the emails, the lying on the stand, all of that stuff. But you know what really bothers me is all that just gets brushed aside so she can continue on in her presidential race. But we come on over here to Miss Jill Stein, and in North Dakota, she has an arrest warrant out for her now.
Hold on 1 second to any of the listeners out there that might not know who Jill Stein is. Who is Jill Stein, Matt?
Jill Stein is a presidential candidate out of the Libertarian Party. So she, she is very big on her social media accounts, whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, whatnot. She, most of her campaign is having to be ran on a social media platform because a lot of her message is just not put out there because she's running on a third-party ticket. Now, unfortunately for Jill Stein, and her campaign, there's a lot of states where she is, losing to candidates like Harambe and D's Nuts, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, right now she's
Matt,
running
for her. Yeah.
Yeah. I am definitely voting for our sweet prince. But anyways, Green Party candidate. I'm sorry, I was the wrong. Green Party candidate Jill Stein is accused of spray painting construction equipment during a protest over the North Dakota's access pipeline. In fact, she has a picture of this incident on her Twitter account.
Now, this is the current pipeline that has been all over social media about the Native Americans protesting it, and the mercenaries that just recently sent attack dogs in there to attack the peaceful protesters. Yep. President candidate Jill Stein showed up on the ground and busted out a can of spray paint and started spray painting some stuff. You know what? I think I might have to change my vote.
Yeah, outside of that's pretty cool. I mean, she's got a lot of politics I personally don't agree with, but at the end of the day, the fact that she cares enough about this to actually go out there and be on the front line and protest is really cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, this was definitely probably something that was very much done for a photo op. But, a direct quote from her is the Dakota Access Pipeline is vandalism on steroids. And above that, it has a picture of her with a smile on, and she's holding a can of spray paint and spray painting on what looks like to be the front of a heavy loader. Now, what ended up happening was on Wednesday in Morton County, she was charged with a misdemeanor of criminal trespassing and criminal mischief. Now, this is basically saying that she spray painted, "I approve this message" in red paint on the blade of the bulldozer. Now, they have turned around and issued this arrest warrant. Now, that just boggles my mind. You have a presidential candidate who takes a can of spray paint and sprays it on a bulldozer, and she's facing criminal charges. But we have a woman who has been caught so many times lying to the American people, lying while under oath, breaking the law left and right, giving secret speeches for millions of dollars, and she's got nothing. I mean, that tells you just how jacked our system is.
You're voting for Hillary.
Oh my God! If I would be removed from my family if I voted for Hillary Clinton. I would remove myself from my family if I voted for Hillary Clinton. That is just, honestly, I don't think there's a bigger transgression I could do against my family name, and it's not because
I think they're all crooks. I don't care either way.
Yeah, I'm not voting for Trump either. I won't vote for him either. I mean,
funny story though. My dad's been a Democrat for most of his life, and he changed his political party due to Hillary Clinton. He's now a registered Republican because of Hillary Clinton. He uses to support her.
I'm not going to lie. Most of my life, I've been a registered Republican, and don't get me wrong, I've definitely voted away from Republican in the last, couple elections, just because, I went
9/11, Matt.
Bush did 9/11. Anyways, one of the biggest reasons why I definitely, after looking into things, I was like, I don't know if I can play with the Republican Party anymore. But then after really looking into politics and everything, I realized I did not agree with either side. I just can't do it. But and it really bothers me that we have a two-party system. When you look at other countries and, when they come up to vote in things like prime ministers, there's like 9 to 10 different parties that represent. So you have a actual choice. But, the only real big difference between us and, let's say, North Korea, where it's like, oh, you get to vote, but there's only one name on the ballot. This time around, they give you 2 names on the ballot, but they've made the decision for you. So, it's really not that big of a difference when it comes down to it. If you are under the impression that your vote means something, well, you know what? Enjoy your participation prize.
If you think your vote means something, I challenge you to Google super delegate and learn super delegate not kit. Super delegate. Yeah. Find out what a super delegate is, and you will see exactly how much your vote matters.
But I mean, this I'm just fundamentally bothered by this. Just the fact that there's so many different reasons why Hillary Clinton, one, should not even be allowed to be on the ticket, but two, just same with Donald Trump. Let's be real. But
you know what? This is I've come to accept what's happening. I have a different opinion. I love it. I love every minute of it, because this is just the beginning of the end of what needs to be done. This thing has failed so many times over that we need to start over, and it just shows right now that we have a choice between a turd sandwich and a giant douche. Like, seriously, South Park. Do you remember South Park making this joke 8 years ago? 8 years ago about our last election? It's just it's more absurd every time. We really will have somebody in a Bugs Bunny suit in the next one. He's going to around. Vermin Supreme is going to be the Republican candidate next time around.
Realistically, 187. Let's burn this down and start over afresh, because and I really think that this might be the election that starts the end of America seen as a great superpower around the world. Because if we get somebody who's so self-serving that they are willing to lie in front of the American people, and you know what, you don't know which one I'm talking about because they're both doing it. But if they're so self-serving to be like that, do you really think they've got the American interest in at hand? No. So, the second their self-serving ass gets inside of the White House, it's definitely going to be a situation.
Our option is really boiled down to Bugs Bunny, a cunning Bugs Bunny who's always breaking all the rules and doing whatever he wants, or the insane Elmer Fudd that's shooting his gun up in the air going, yeehaw, yeehaw, yeehaw. That is our choice this election. So we can choose between one cartoon character or another, but they're both cartoon characters.
Absolutely.
I say vote third party, send a loud message that you're sick of the two-party system, and move on. There's no need for you to participate in either party. Why would you continue to perpetuate the system by adding another number to the amount of people who participated?
Absolutely.
That's all you're doing.
Because if we all stood back, we all decided we weren't going to vote, guess what? Somebody's still going to make their way into the White House because they'll still just use what was supposed to be a backup system. They'll use that system to just turn around and show you just how much they don't care what the American people want. So, God bless America.
God bless America. Well, we're coming up toward the end of the show. If you guys love our show, and I know you do, stay tuned. Keep filling in. We have lots of fun stuff, lots of announcements coming up soon. Lots of big moves being made. Me and Matt are going to take over the world together. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One set of ears at a time.
Exactly. We just haven't announced our plan yet, but we're working on it. So stay tuned. Seriously, we do have some nice projects we'll be announcing soon. Make sure you get your live streaming apps. Cell 411, Bamboozer. Actually, Facebook Live has now been enabled. Every phone can now Facebook Live stream, which is awesome. So cops are being streamed everywhere. It's an awesome thing. You can find me at Lehigh Valley Cop Block. My name is Severin Freeman.
And you can find me at Carbon County Cop Block on Facebook and YouTube, and also at questionyourperception.org.
See you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Night.